Hello everyone, my name is Brian and welcome back to Aetherfall. In our last video, we learned about what Aetherfall is, as well as some backstory to its world and some of its rules. For this video, I'll give an in-depth reading of the plot and main story of the game. Not wishing to make this video several hours, I'll condense the story as much as I can. Also, I'll be stopping at certain points to add in commentary on why I chose different story aspects. One more point before starting is that this will be the standard ending for the game. There are 4 endings in total, and I'll discuss the others at the conclusion of the standard ending. Now, without further ado, I present the story of Aetherfall. We start with a black screen and silence. Noises that seem alien in nature and impossible to discern slowly build. Your eyes open, but are unable to make out what's going on. This persists for several seconds, before a large silhouette comes forward dominating the screen. It looms over you, and its importance is felt. The option to now choose your name, appearance, gender, all appear on the screen before it fades to black. When your vision returns, water rages around you on what seems to be a ship. Other human-shaped shadows dot your vision before getting tossed about as the powerful waves tear apart the ship. Absolute chaos on this hopeless boat lost at sea. You can slowly move around, which helps to learn the controls while navigating the sinking boat. Making your way to the bow, you'll witness one giant wave rise high above the waters, and the screen goes dark once more. The sound of the ocean, with waves gently moving onto shore, can be heard, and your eyes open once more to see that you're lying on a cold beach. Looking around, there's mountains in the distance, opposite of the water, and what appears to be the wreckage of the ship scattered across the sand. An old man can be seen sitting nearby in a meditative state. Once spotting him, the old man remarks, "You're finally awake." I'm sorry, I couldn't resist putting that in there. Wasn't sure if you'd come to it all, I might add. When he helps you to your feet, the first few choices will begin. You can leave this old man and head out into the world. You can stay and figure out what's going on, or you can even kill him. The options come from my experiences with video games, which oftentimes leave a feeling of frustration. First, having unkillable characters makes little sense, and often immediately takes the player out of the playing experience. Providing workarounds in case the player chooses to kill any NPC should be the standard. Secondly, many games in general, not just RPGs, take too long to get into their story, making players sit through long stretches before giving them the keys to the proverbial car. Take Skyrim for example. It takes about 30 minutes to get through its opening, and Fallout 4's intro, 30 minutes as well. These intros establish lore, character backstories, and many other things. However, with Aetherfall, I think we could take a different approach. An intro that comes in around 3-4 minutes if we're feeling bold. No pressing story that makes the player feel pressured to jump on the main questline's trail, and no knowledge of who the player is or what's going on. In a single word, I want to give the player freedom. However, these choices have to be tested to be done correctly. If too obvious or easy for the player to leave or kill the old man, it can lead to inexperienced players quickly becoming lost, stuck, or confused, which is all recipes for a quick game quit. There are 2 features to this opening beach scene that can help prevent players accidentally changing their experience in a negative way. The first feature is to secretly surround this beach with challenges too difficult for new players to defeat, while experienced players on a second playthrough and beyond will know how to handle them. Things such as barbarian camps, wild snow tigers, and more provide a nice barrier. If the player attempts to swim around these land-based filters, they'll drown from stamina loss before being able to reach safety. This filter approach tackles keeping newbies on the right path in an organic way that invisible boundaries cannot. The second feature is to make the old man a tough, and I mean tough, dude to kill. This means that the only way he's going down is if the player means it. However, he'll be very forgiving and won't become aggressive until his health is very low. On top of this toughness, killing the old man will bring up a screen similar to older RPGs such as The Elder Scrolls Morrowind. This notification should address that the player has killed a key figure to the story, affecting it in irreversible ways, and that they can choose to live with the consequences or reload the game. Not only will this mention that the player has made important changes to their world, but also that the player is now forging their own path, and give the opportunity to pick starting stats before going further into the world. This notification screen feels a bit unimmersive to me, however, and other ideas on how the player can be notified of their actions in an immersive friendly way would be welcome. With those items covered, let's return to the story. Choosing to stick with the old man, he'll ask you for your name, as well as introducing himself as Connery. He'll explain that he lives in a nearby village named Andertown, and when coming out for his morning fishing, he noticed dozens of people unconscious along the beach, including yourself. He helped the survivors and sent them off towards his village, before reaching the last person passed out, you. After waiting for what seemed like an hour, you finally came to. Connery will extend an invitation to join him and the survivors back in Andertown, where they're regrouping. Accepting this invitation, you walk along the cold beach with him, with the chance to ask him questions about where you are and what's going on in the world. Unfortunately for you, while Connery knows a decent amount about the surrounding region, he hasn't had the chance to explore Aldera in its entirety in many years, so much of his knowledge is either outdated or comes from stories of travelers. He's happy to share whatever information he does have to you, though most of it has to do with good fishing spots around northern Aldera. Along the way to Andertown, you and Connery enter a snowy pine forest, where several situations will arise that teach some of the basics of the game. The first is a buck stopping along a stream for a drink. Connery will mention a variety of potential options for you. Personally, he would try to befriend the animal and will provide you some berries in case you want to attempt that route. He'll also give you the option between a dagger and a foldable bow to choose from. Asking him if he has anything else, Connery will mention he could potentially teach you a spell. This opens up potential dialogue about how magic works, including what types of magic are available, how magic can be attained, and why Connery seems to be averse to sharing his knowledge. This scenario gives the chance to learn the game's combats and animal befriending system, as Connery will explain how to do both in detail. After either killing, befriending, or leaving the buck alone, you and Connery will be stopped by a thief looking to rob the two of you. After having Connery hold your hand when dealing with the deer, you now take the lead when dealing with this thief. She'll tell you to please give her all your valuables, as she points a one-handed crossbow directly at you. You'll have the option to either give her what little items you and Connery have, kill her, or open up a dialogue with her. Based on what stats you've specialized, they'll have a variety of non-violent resolutions to the conflict. However, for right now, you'll meet all the speech requirements for this interaction, as the opportunity to assign points hasn't started yet. For this encounter, I think 3 different speech options is ample to establish what speech in-game would look like. This rule isn't unwavering, as each encounter should be unique in what speech options are available. Going the strength route, you can intimidate the thief through 3 levels, each being harder to pass. At the first stage, you can make her lower her guard, providing an opportunity to quickly attack without getting hit with the crossbow. At the second stage, you can make her drop her weapon entirely, making the unarmed thief either an easy kill or allowing you to have her run away. At the third stage, she'll drop her weapon and then can be robbed instead. Progressing to the second and third stage, she'll beg for you not to kill her, stating that she has 2 young kids that rely solely on her for survival. Going the charming route, you can flirt with the assailants instead, which, like the strength route, has multiple stages. The first stage makes the thief take off her hooded helmet, lowering her overall armor and providing a window to strike if you so choose. At the second stage, the thief will agree to leave you and Connery alone, and will provide a location for you to come see her later. At the third stage, she'll leave you and Connery alone and come by Andertown later to visit the player. Going with the persuasion route, you can use reasoning with the thief. At the first stage, you can note that she seems nervous and that you don't want any violence. This debuffs the thief, weakening her attack damage in a potential fight. She'll mention that she doesn't have any choice, and reaffirm that you need to hand over your valuables or she'll kill you. At the second stage, you can ask why she has no choice. To to which the thief will give explanations of their motives, including that they have 2 young children that rely on them. This further debuffs the thief, making them very easy to defeat. However, if you push to the 3rd stage, you can tell her that she doesn't need to steal to support her children, and after having a discussion with Connery, you can offer her a place in Andertown with her kids. Though hesitant, she'll agree and leave, arriving several days later with her 2 children. No matter what option you end up choosing, Connery will have opinions based on it. He'll give his thoughts on how you handled the situation. For example, if you killed her, he'll be disapproving, and if you can convince her to stand down, he'll have more respect for you, building your reputation with Andertown. After finishing this encounter, the player now has a better understanding of combat, speech, and/or reputation. And with that, you and Connery reach Andertown, and Chapter 1 concludes. Alright, that concludes this video, which originally was meant to encompass all of the story's first act. In our next video, the quiet village of Andertown will be introduced and explored. As usual, make sure to comment if you have any questions and follow to keep up with the channel. This has been Brian, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.